Hey guys, it's SJ. I hope you're super duper well. Welcome to my channel. Every Monday I do a new baby name list. As you can hear, I am super duper croaky. I'm actually not poorly. I've just been talking too much and I've worn out my voice. So I hope my voice isn't too distracting. I'm going to take you through your most liked request from last week, which was god and goddesses names, mythological names basically. So I've looked at Greek history, Norse history, what else was there? Roman history. A lot of the myths and legends overlap as well, so it's super fascinating, but so many brilliant names. Thank you so much for the request. Don't forget that each week I'm doing your most liked request from the week before. There are two kind of second and third names that are requests. So one is place names and one is rainbow baby names, and they're coming up each week, so I'm going to pin those two to the top. So if you would like those, like my comment, if that makes sense, because I don't want people to keep having to request them. And if you have any other different ideas, then do request them below. I'm also going to link below my brand new baby name forum. You can go and chat baby names with me over there as well. But let's get on with the list. So first up is an amazing Greek goddess, the goddess of the labyrinth, and her name is Ariadne. It is a stunning name. I absolutely love it. There were only 35 babies named this last year, so it's outside of the top 1,000 at 1,021, meaning it's a really unique choice. And she has one of the coolest legends. Ariadne was quite a warrior girl, and she is the goddess of the labyrinth, vegetation, mazes, paths, snakes, and passion. So she was in charge of the labyrinth, where you probably have heard of this Greek legend where they used to put the Minotaur, I think he was called, in the labyrinth, and they were forced to send sacrifices in. And it's a bit Hunger Games, where Theseus, I think his name was, he volunteered to go into the labyrinth as this human sacrifice, and Ariadne fell in love with him and helped him to escape. So it's a gorgeous name. She's quite a fierce person, and it's just a beautiful legend. I just absolutely love the name. I think with names like Abigail being so popular, Amelia, all those A-sounding names, Ariadne is just so unique. It's not hard to pronounce and say. I'm surprised it's not used more often, because I love the legend behind her, even though they then sail off into the sunset together, and guess what he does? Ditches her. Literally ditches her. When they get there, he just flees, and then she's devastated. So that's a bit of a sad story, but a word of warning for girls, you know, she could turn that to her advantage, be even fiercer as a woman. So let me know what you think of the name Ariadne. So there are a lot of space names in the god and goddesses names, of course, and there's also a lot of overlap in the stories. So there is the god Zeus, but in Roman mythology he is called Jupiter, and I absolutely love the name Jupiter. I think it sounds really wearable. There were 4 baby boys named Jupiter last year, but actually 6 girls, although it is a male god, you know, connected to thunderbolts, lightning, kind of like a really cool god of the sky. And of course Jupiter is also the largest planet, so it's a really important god to be named after. But I just think the name sounds absolutely lovely, and obviously Lunar and all those space names, Cosmo, are really back with a bang. I did do space names, I'll link it below. What I loved about this name as well was the nickname Jove. So apparently originally Jove was an even older name that then became Jupiter, and then I looked up, like, you know, like that expression, by Jove, like as a very English old-fashioned expression. So you might know it from My Fair Lady, goes, by Jove, I think she's got it. Goes really well with my croaky voice. And that was originally slang for, like, by God, like sort of for God's sake. So it's really interesting. Anyway, I love looking at where phrases come from. So yeah, by Jove was sort of a reference to the Roman god. So there could be Jupiter with the nickname Jove, which I think sounds brilliant. So yeah, I love that. Really love it. I would love to know what you think of the name Jupiter in the comments below. Is it wearable? At the moment it's not being used that often. I think that's a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of trending god and goddess names, which means they're like not so popular, but they're rising really quickly, and then a couple of the most popular. So the next name I absolutely love, and I've seen it on so many lists, but I wasn't sure how to pronounce it, I must be honest, and it is Calliope. Calliope. Let me know if I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I have looked it up. And Calliope is so pretty, isn't it, with those L's and those P's. And it means beautiful voice, which isn't very much me today, unless you like this huskiness. She was basically like the chief of the muses. So she inspired poets, she inspired artists with her beautiful voice. So I think that's so wonderful. What a gorgeous, if you're into literature, poetry, music, couldn't get a better namesake than Calliope, but it is a hard one to pronounce when you see it. I think originally in Greek it's probably spelled with a K. What do you think of it? Do you know a Calliope? Am I saying it right? And trending for boys is the name Odin. So you may have heard Odin. I definitely have. I live near London and there's lots of crazy names around here, but it's at number 546. So it's going up in a massive spike, so it is getting used. And I'm not surprised because O names are so popular. He was one of the warrior gods, the Norse gods, so we're going over to the Norse gods now, which are really, really popular, aren't they? He was also king of the battles, so a very, very, very big namesake. That might put me off actually. I'd be a bit scared, like Odin, like you're going to go and change the world, but you know, why not? There's the generation, the next generation are definitely going to be that generation. We're raising them so well as little warriors. So what do you think of the name Odin? So going to very popular god and goddess names, the name Hector is now really popular, and it's a new one on me, but I know a few little Hectors. It's already number 282, so where it would have been maybe a bit old-fashioned before, it's really coming back. Hector was in Greek mythology and in Roman mythology. He was a great fighter for Troy. I think he was killed by Achilles eventually, but he was one of the biggest warriors. So again, an absolutely great namesake and a very, very popular name. What do you think of Hector? Did you know Hector is one of those that's really having its revival at the moment? And for girls, the name Freya from Norse mythology is so popular. Freya is at number 20, and I can see why. It's a stunning name. It's gentle but kind of strong as well, because she's known as this goddess, but she's the goddess of love, fertility, gold, war and death. She's all spectrums, is Freya. I quite like her, like reading about her. She's known as a bit of a party girl. Let's just say that. And she also apparently brought art first to the gods and therefore to people. So yeah, she's a bit of a going her own way, creating her own path type of goddess. So quite cool. And Freya is one of the most popular god and goddess names that we have in the UK. Is it popular around the world as well? So a couple of my all-time favourite wild card for a girl. How about the name Echo? I know what you're thinking, but it is stunning. I actually love the sound of it. There were 6 babies named Echo in 2016, but then it didn't go on to get used again in 2017, which is when our last stats are for. Who knows why, but there were 6 baby Echoes, and the story is just absolutely brilliant. I've never thought about where the name Echo and the phenomenon of echo comes from, but it came from the gods, or the gods created a reason for echoes. So it was all to do with Zeus, who used to come down from Godland and yeah, find some little nymphs for himself, and Hera, his wife, was not too happy. She came down and found this beautiful nymph that Zeus was in love with, and as a curse she took away her voice so that she couldn't attract him anymore, and the curse was she could only repeat back the last few words that she ever heard. So that's where echo comes from. And then interestingly, she then fell in love with Narcissus, who was the narcissistic one, in love with himself, and she could only repeat back the last words that he said. She fell in love with him. She had to watch him fall in love with himself, basically. It's just really, really interesting. So apparently when he was dying and mourning over his own body, he said, "Oh marvellous boy, I loved you in vain, farewell," about himself, and she's like, farewell. She can literally only repeat the last words. It's just a really, 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 really cool mythology, and I can't wait. They need to make a movie about that, don't they? So yeah, I just think that maybe Echo is too much of a strange name, and there's probably some kind of artificial intelligence thing called Echo. Is there? It's suddenly coming to me that there might be, but I think it is brilliant. And I think if you're looking for a kick-ass name with a beautiful, like, interesting meaning, if you want to talk about the name, it would be one of those like, why did you call their middle name Echo? And you could be like, well, you know, this is a cool myth, and it's just a really trendy thing. So I think it could work. Am I mad? But I know you need a wild card now and again. A really popular name is the name Loki. So you may have heard this. I read that this was one of the most trending names in the US a couple of years ago. Loki is a bit of a bad guy. He is the son of the frost giant from Norse mythology. But it is at number 537 in the UK. And it's kind of been going up and down. But it is a really, really, really cool name. Like short, sweet, funky, boyish. But yeah, a bit of a bad guy vibe going on, because Loki is known as not being so nice. So there was a recent movie made around Loki and Thor, and about how Odin, who was Thor's dad, kind of took in Loki, but then Loki, who was this frost giant's child, was kind of found after the giant died, and kind of took him in, and they were kind of blood brothers, but he was a bit of a bad guy. So what do you think of the name Loki? Would you name your child after a kind of bad god, fallen god? Why not? I think if the name sounds cool. It's just got an edgy, kind of cool hipster vibe to it. A couple of short names for you. I found a name called Nepheli. Nephele. Isn't that pretty? So it's the P-H-E, but I think you pronounce it Faye, Nephele, and she was from the Greek meaning cloud, so she was created from a cloud by Zeus. Nephele. That's pretty, isn't it? It's a bit like Natalie or Emily, Nephele. Really lovely, and how beautiful to have that cloud meaning, so I wanted to chuck that one in there. Apollo had a twin sister, Artemis, which I wanted to mention the two of them. So Apollo is at number 1470. He's got an archery, music, dance. It's a very well-known thing, and it's difficult with the boy gods because a lot of them have been used by like software companies or like delivery companies like Hermes and stuff, and I was like, oh, it kind of puts you off. But Apollo isn't too well known as anything other than the god name, so it's a great one. Of course, there is the space theme again. Apollo is the son of Zeus and Leto and had a sister, Artemis, which isn't used as much, and I really like it. I love the little miss ending, little miss. Love that. Quite often I call my daughter Evelina Little Miss. And Artemis is lovely. There are 31 girls named Artemis. Last year, she was got an arch, like a bow and arrow. She's really cool. She's quite known as like being a bit revengeful and spiteful. She was a great hunter, and if somebody was a better hunter than her, she would just go out and get rid of them basically. So yeah, a little bit badass, but I think she's cool and a bit unknown. And Artemis is a really, really beautiful name. She's the goddess of the hunt. Apparently she was the goddess of protector of young children as well. Then you read a few dark things about her, and it doesn't seem to always protect them, but wild animals, forest lover, kind of children protector, kind of fierce warrior girl is who Artemis was. Their mother was called Leto, which I found interesting because I'm in love with Jared Leto since I was about 12. Did you used to watch, what was it called? My So-Called Life. I was obsessed with My So-Called Life. I was in love with Jared Leto. I sent him quite a lot of embarrassing letters about how much I loved him. Never wanted to go out with me. I don't know why. I was 12. I lived in Swindon. We could have been a match made in heaven. But yeah, Leto, I didn't realise was a god name. And it is his mother's name. So yeah, it's a female name. Interesting one. There were 6 boys named Leto. Probably more known for that because of Jared Leto, maybe. So I've got 2 more for you. Persephone, she is super cool. Her story is the one about where the seasons come from, so you may have heard. So she was a real nature child. Her mother was Mother Earth, and she draws attention of the king of the dead and gets kidnapped and taken down into kind of hell, and then they have to do a bargain where she is shared half of the year up, which is why it is sunny and warm in spring and summer, and then half of the year she is down and she rules the underworld as well, which is winter and autumn, and why it's all miserable and sad because her mother, Mother Earth, can't cope when she's down there, and so all the leaves and flowers all die. So it's a super really interesting story, quite a well-known one, isn't it? Persephone, I think that it gets a reputation as being a little bit kind of pretentious as a name because it is so long and kind of posh almost. Upper class maybe have used it more than it becoming an everyday name, but why not? It is absolutely beautiful, and I think we're getting so much braver with our baby names now across the playgrounds, so I don't see any reason why not to choose Persephone because it is so beautiful and it's hard to find such gorgeous names, and she has got that real nature vibe to her. My last was just a question for you guys. I found 2 names that I love and they're quite similar, Leander and Amanda. Which one do you like the most? So Leander was kind of, I think it means lion man, and he was a swimmer. So he used to have, Hero was his love, who was like stuck in a tower, and he had to swim across to her every night. She used to shine a light, and then one night something happened, the wind blew off her candle and she jumped to her death to be with him. So Hero and Leander have made a lot of poems about them and stories, but I really like the name Leander, and Leo is such a popular one. But I also like Evander, and of course they're very, very similar. He was more Greek mythology. He was known for introducing things like writing to civilization, and kind of a city guy, like a setup, kind of known to be setting up a town and introducing writing to them. But Evander maybe is even more edgy with the V in it. What do you think? I just wanted to put that to you, Evander or Leander. So I will croak away now. I hope this hasn't been too long. I hope you find it interesting. It just, when it's something like this, it's really hard to make it short and sweet because there's so many gorgeous stories attached to the names. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. Don't forget to vote on whether you would like place names or rainbow baby names in my pinned comments below, and please do add your own because I love taking your requests. I will link my baby name forum below as well, and don't forget you can come back tomorrow. Actually, I have a fashion video going live and I would love for you to be here for that, and a summer favourites video as well this week. So if you hit subscribe, it means I will pop up in your inbox whenever there's a new video from me, and that would mean a lot to me. I love making these videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.